Alright, so in this video, we're going to be reacting to this lady telling us what happens when you lose a good man. Let's see.
I have a little story time to share after this brief clip for context.
If your husband is a good guy, but you're ready for divorce, you're not a bad person. So don't let guilt get the best of you.
I had this friend some years back. She was my best friend in the whole wide world. We hung out constantly. I enjoyed her company. Highly intelligent woman, quite attractive, married. Husband is very attractive, very successful. Not only did he provide for his family, she didn't work, but he cooked, he cleaned, he took care of the kids. He was emotionally open and available. Every time I'd come over and hang out with both of them, you know, he was so talkative and emotive and empathetic. I thought, wow, they're the perfect couple in my opinion.
It really sounds like the perfect situation. Almost like the perfect man, the dream man that every one of these women today say they want. You know, he's doing everything. So what possibly could have happened?
Two beautiful teenage children, perfect life. I used to drop things off at her house. She would tell me, oh, can you drop this off? And I would go over and he would be in the house cleaning. I mean, Ajax and Pine Sol and Windex and mops out. And he would ask me, you know, Demi, how does everything look? Do you think she'll be happy? Is this up to a woman's standards of cleanliness? You know, he said, I just love her so much. And I would say, wow, you know, you're really incredible.
Actually, if you know how things are supposed to be, you can hear that is a recipe for disaster. It sounds perfect on the outside, but if he's doing all of these things because he's seeking validation, that is a weakness.
Of course she's going to be happy. You know, you did an amazing job. You always do an amazing job. The relationship with my friend, something started changing in her. You know, she started talking to me about depression, and she's overweight, and she didn't like it. And it never bothered her husband. I mean, he adored her no matter what. But she started complaining about her weight and this depression and saying that she needs to go to therapy, which she did. She found a therapist and started going. But after she started going to therapy, I noticed there was a dramatic change in her. She started complaining. After these sessions, she would begin complaining more and more about her husband and how he's making her miserable. And I would say to her, what do you mean? This is all of a sudden new for you since you started seeing this new therapist. So I started inquiring about the therapist. You know, what are her beliefs? And she said, oh, she's very feminine. And then within a couple of months, you know, my friend began spiraling. Things got weirder and weirder for her. She was complaining more and more about her husband, how he's making her miserable, how he's keeping her fat, how he is to blame for her depression. And no matter what I would say to her, I would always like reach some kind of dead end. She would come at me with something else.
You know, this isn't actually surprising to me because embedded in the feminist ideology is the lack of accountability and responsibility. So you can see that this woman doesn't want to take any self-accountability for her position and how she is, you know? So going to a feminist will bring that out of you, and that's what we see.
And then she started talking about divorce, that she'll be happy and her depression will lift and she'll finally be able to lose the weight once she gets rid of her husband. And I was trying so hard to talk to this woman, and she would get angry with me. And I said to her one day, I don't want to say her name, but I said, hey, you know, what is it that he does that is so bad? Please just put it into words for me. Tell me, what does he do that is so bad? And she couldn't think of anything. And she sat there for a couple of minutes pondering, and then she came up with, he leaves apple cores on the nightstand. That was all she had. Apple cores on the nightstand. because he would eat an apple before falling asleep.
It sounds like she didn't really have any logical reason that justified the situation and her not appreciating him. You know, so she just had to find one. There's nothing actually logically there, so she had to find one. What is it? It's apple gauze.
So he was making her depressed for whatever reason. He was keeping her overweight for whatever reason. And he would leave apple cores on the nightstand. I tried to implore to her, no, this is no reason. This is no reason. And she started amping up her therapy visits from like once a week to twice a week. And things just got worse and worse till one day she told me, we're getting divorced.
That's what that feminist influence will do, because feminists don't want family. You know, it's in the ideology. It doesn't promote or sustain family. So that's what we see.
This man was devastated. Devastated. He lost his kids.
Well, wouldn't you be? Imagine you do everything. You do the masculine role and the traditional feminine role. You cook, you provide, you look after the bills and all of this stuff. And on top of that, you also do the role of a wife. At that point, you don't even need her. You're the husband and wife of the household. And it's still not good enough.
He, of course, had to go through paying all the different supports. My friendship with her dissolved. One day we were having brunch and I was expressing what I felt about this. And she threw a glass of water at me. And I thought, okay, it's over. And we ended our friendship, and from what I've heard, she went down a spiral. She went through a rampage of sexual activity.
Well, of course, because you can't be a feminist without, you know, at least believing that that's liberated behavior.
Did she lose the weight? No. Is she still depressed?
Well, why would she lose the weight if, you know, with body positivity that says no matter how your body looks, your body is still great? Why would she lose it? And, you know, why would she be any less depressed if she's following an ideology which isn't aligned with nature? But then the one counter argument I can say to this that I did detect is that him seeking her validation and him loving her no matter what she does, you know, she can almost do nothing, and he's still supportive of that, is actually part of the reason why she wasn't taking accountability. Like, he is the perfect person to do that stuff with, because any strong masculine man is gonna, you know, kind of give you a kick up the butt to like get on your stuff, develop and do something and be productive and purposeful, which is actually good. And if you're not purposeful, you're very likely to be depressed. People often get depressed when they actually are about nothing, when they lose their sense of purpose. So you know, it's an interesting thing to consider, you know. But anyway, I want to know what you think. So comment down below, let Reemus know, and I'll see you in the next video.